welcome to the technically first episode of the Foster Thought podcast. So I'm your host, Jamie Maycock, and we're joined today with, introduce yourself.
I'm Zoe Greenwood, manager of Capstone Care Leavers Trust.
So, quick little background. Where did you come from? How did you end up in the position you are at the moment?
With Capstone Group, Capstone Care Leavers Trust, I've been with them for 5 years. I started as an admin assistant with Maggie Maloney as the manager at the time. Previous to that, now the manager, but previous to that, I did a lot of marketing and events where I was traveling a lot all over the UK. But I always wanted to do something that felt rewarding where I was helping other people. So when I saw the opportunity to step in with Maggie coming up to retirement, I was really excited to obviously, be offered the role. And I've been here for 5 years and, it's the best decision I've ever made.
Okay, that's really good. So tell us more about Capstone Care Leavers Trust, or we might refer to it in this podcast as CCLT. That's kind of the internal lingo. So yeah, tell us a bit about CCLT, their mission, their values.
CCLT, well, our mission and values are specifically to look after care experienced young adults, offering financial support. We get requested all sorts of household essentials, laptops, educational requests, anything to help them into their independent living. And that's our mission, really, to make that progression from age of 16 or going on to 17 when they leave foster care, that they've got that kind of support and guidance and financial support, really.
So is it from 16 to 25? Is it 18 to 25 you support?
17 up to the 26th birthday. So 17 to 25 is deemed as a care experienced young adult. But at the age of 16, that's when they're starting to navigate away from the foster, or if they're not in a stay put arrangement, and it's quite scary for when they're going into supported accommodation, etc.
So you spoke about the grants you do, like driver's license, not the driver's license, so driving test you can support, household supplies and stuff. What do they need to do in order to be able to go for these grants?
To apply for the grants, they need to put an online application. We can't be open indefinitely because we're in demand as a charity, but we need an online application. And it's open to all care experienced young adults within that age bracket across the UK. And they can apply for household goods, household essentials, nursery items, flooring. We only cover one room though, because it's very expensive. So we only look at one room, and a second room extenuating circumstances if they've got a baby. Driving is really popular, obviously, when they're at that age, and it's very expensive. But there's a lot of criteria attached to that due to the cost.
I feel like recently driving, I've passed my test probably about 7 years ago, and I remember I used to pay I think like £20 for like hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. Whereas now, speaking to like some of my friends who kind of have waited and like gone to university and now coming back and starting their driving lessons, it's ridiculous. It's like £45 just for a driving lesson now.
Yeah, we normally look at 20 lessons and it's normally £800 to £1,000.
It's crazy.
And then 20 lessons isn't normally enough.
Yeah.
So then they come back needing about another £400. So you're looking at least, with the practical test as well, at least about up to £2,000 just to learn. And then it's getting the insurance as well. So we have to make sure that, have you got your ducks in a row? It's great getting your license, but are you going to be all right once you've got your license to get the car, run the car? So yeah.
Especially I feel like for people coming out of kind of leaving care, a car can be such a fundamental thing if they're wanting to get a job or like travel to university.
Yeah.
So yeah, it must be really, really difficult. So having that kind of support where you can get your lessons kind of covered and then can focus on insurance and stuff, it can actually really set them up for such a kind of a brighter future.
Well, if they've got already like the foundation, they might be doing an apprenticeship. We get a lot requesting if they're doing an apprenticeship on building sites and they can't carry all their equipment and their tools. So that's kind of like they can get extra shifts. They can't get to the building site. That would be something that the trustees would look at. But yeah, if it's to progress their career or their education, then obviously we can look at that to help them because it's such a large amount.
Yeah.
And sometimes we've actually paid it to internally if a young person's been, well, we get applications from Capstone, within the Capstone group of foster carers who can't afford for a stay put arrangement. We've actually paid the money and supported the foster carer within Capstone Group.
Oh, nice.
So they don't have to sort of obviously forfeit that large expense.
So you spoke about the expenses. What is the max? If I came to you with something and I was hoping to get the maximum loan or grant, what would the maximum amount usually be?
The maximum is 3,000.
Can that be for anything, or is it specific?
It's reserved for tuition fees, university. It's not always reserved for 3,000, but we couldn't do like 3,000 for all your household goods in your home. We have to make sure you utilised your setting up home allowance sensibly, and that's exhausted. So all your funding from the local authority is exhausted and it's a shortfall. But 3,000 is usually the maximum. Well, it is the maximum, and it's reserved for if a young person's going to uni and they need support with their tuition fees. And they can apply once a year, every 12 months they can reapply.
Okay, so they can't apply for instance, if they were going to university but also was learning to drive, they couldn't apply for both?
No, or sometimes we'd have a look at maybe if they were eligible for both. Yeah. Maybe a contribution, a smaller contribution. Okay. We just couldn't go over the 3,000. Yeah. It's just what we've got set with the charity criteria.
So I know you spoke a bit about kind of how you were inspired to come through, and now you kind of here. You're the main woman part of CCLT. What is it like being kind of your boss, but then also just you sometimes?
It has its challenges. I mean, I enjoy the job. I'm very self-motivated with it, and it's rewarding every day. I think the biggest challenge, being solo managing the charity across the UK, is that we can't have, I can't have the portal open all the time. Because obviously we're open to Capstone Group with instant access links. But when I open the portal through our application portal through the website, as soon as that's open and I've updated that CCLT are open, ready for applications, it's just they keep coming in, ping.
It's just all going straight to you and nobody else can catch anything.
I mean, ideally, we want to be open, and the trustees agree with this. They want to be open as much as possible because there's so many young people that are desperate for support. They don't have financial support from their family. We're blessed that if we were struggling or there's something we needed, we'd have our family to lean on. So many come through in such a short space of time that I have to close it, and I can see some of them that are half. I can see what's coming through, and I can see them like half completed, and I'm like, I feel like it's with a heavy heart that I have to close it. But I always we state on the website I will contact you within 6 weeks of applying. I would get overwhelmed and in a mountain of a mess because I process the applications, gather everything like for the board to present it, and then I purchase the goods as well.
So you literally are a one-woman show.
So obviously I do all the charity admin, etc., for the trustees and the trustee meetings. But the main priority is obviously the applications, making sure that I can reopen as quickly and promptly as possible to help as many young people. But that's the biggest challenge.
So how many people, how many applications does it need until you say, okay, we need to close it now?
Well, sometimes I can read over them. So as we're open, some of them I can glance over and see that it's not going to be something that we're going to be able to support. And whilst we're open, I kind of decline and get in touch with them, signpost, encourage, get your ducks in a row. This is what we're going to need. This is why I can't support you. So I can kind of keep on track of those, so I can make sure that the ones that get submitted, we can obviously support them. It's normally about 30 to 40. And it depends what's coming through because I can see what the requests are, and sometimes if it's a large amount or if it's for the maximum amount, I'm going to need more evidence. I know I'm going to have to chase tutors at universities, which can be a bit slower at them responding.
Whereas if it was something like a household
stuff,
like if they were moving house, it could be pretty quick and
things with household, they're much straightforward. But things when it comes to driving, there's a lot of evidence I need to gather. And things like tuition fees, things like that. I need to, where there's more criteria attached, I can sort of gather by what's coming through. I mean, once I'm closed through the website, it's when you're reopening, when you're reopening. So obviously I signpost everyone to Spark Foundation, Reese Foundation, the personal advisor. But once a personal advisor gets wind of us, or a support worker at the local authority, then they're just like, they tell everyone.
Every single person
go to CCLT, go to CCLT. But we do have a cap per borough to make it fair on the UK.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, one intake was all from Haringey.
Yeah, especially if it's 30 people, because especially some of the bigger regions, if like the local authority, if it was just like the Midlands or London, there could be so many kind of people who could really benefit from this. So then all it takes is for one person to be like, oh, from one region, and then boom, that's your 30 gone like that.
I had one intake. It was Adrian. I don't know if I can say names, but I was about to say the name. But you know, it's just the same personal advisor submitting for all her young people in Haringey.
And you'd love to be able to support them, obviously, but it's if you're doing it just for one, and then
it wouldn't make it fair on there, because she knew the drill. She knew how to get in there.
She knew how to get all her ducks in a row.
And then it's we did end up declining the whole intake and speaking to Andrew and just explaining that. But yes, so we can't be open indefinitely, but we try and help as many young people, signpost them.
What do you think the quickest time you've has there ever been a time where you've clicked we're open and then looked at your emails, okay, we're closed now? What's the quickest amount of time you've had to close?
Well, I say back in the day when I was with Maggie and I just started, we didn't have an on and off button on the application portal. We didn't have something to be like open applications. We relied on WebGlue, which is our website application provider. So we used to phone at WebGlue, or Maggie used to phone at WebGlue. I say, let's put our crash helmet on. She used to phone them up and be like, right, we'd like to open at 9:30. We've stated that's the time we're opening. They would open it for us. And then I think it was within 2 hours, we had about, 40 plus applications.
Oh my God.
But we didn't have control to close it.
Oh.
And because they were coming in so fast, I don't know why it was different then. I mean, they still come through fast now, but I'm able to be open for at least a week at the moment. You can never guarantee how long you're going to be open for. But yeah, it was about 2 hours. And you could just see them submitted, because we get emails saying help. So my email inbox is help. And I was like, so
help me. You're emailing out to everyone saying help.
We didn't have an off button. So Maggie used to get in touch with WebGlue and be like, close the portal. Like that. We'd be in our little cupboard in the old office. But because it came through so quickly, we weren't able to see what had come through. So then you start being able to read through them, and
you've closed it, but you could have probably kept it open, because you've got 40, but 25 of them could be declined,
or they don't meet the criteria. But we've got pre-questionnaire questions now. Does that make sense? Pre-questionnaire qualifying questions. So when they do apply, you have to do a yes no tick box. I mean, we still get chances in a way of, once I get it, it kind of gets you to the application. So they just think, once I've done the application, I could maybe plead my case. But we're trying to make it so we don't get many. I don't like declining. That used to be my biggest challenge. Not that it's not a challenge now, but at the beginning I used to dread it. I used to be sat there with Maggie, and Maggie used to do it for me, because I was like, I just don't want to break the heart.
Yeah.
Where now it's just getting into the role,
which is nice, because I think it just shows well that you're in it for the right reasons. It's not
you want to help them.
Even when I've been speaking to you in and out the office, and even when you're really really stressed because someone's been on the phone shouting at you, you're like, I want to help you. You can tell that you are doing it for the right reasons, which is really good.
My hands are tied. I always just say it, because they seem to think it's all my decision and I'm being mean, when it's like, no, I'm just doing the criteria and I'm just doing my job. But no, we've got a wealth of other alternative organisations that I can signpost them to, and
that's really useful.
Just apologise to them at that time.
Yeah, because I know you've got some links with Birmingham University.
Yes.
St Basil's.
St Basil's. We haven't actually spoke to them for a little while. We were donating ad hoc laptops to St Basil's. But I was going with recruitment at the time, so we still keep in touch. Barry at Basil's. It's called Barry.
And then what about with the university? Because I know you've even gone to there, haven't you, and helped with that. Yes. So what does kind of the partnership with the University of Birmingham? Is it University of Birmingham or Birmingham University? There's like 20 Birmingham universities. There's UOB, UCB, BCU. There's so many universities.
I don't know the difference. I don't know. I just University of Birmingham.
Is that the one that you work with?
I got an email from those. We get many sort of wanting to partner with Capstone Trust and the Capstone Group. And one that caught my eye, because the trustees are really keen to try and not just solely focus, so we wouldn't cherry pick applications, but young people that are really sort of, they feel like they can't get into university or the odds are against them. So I saw an email from Birmingham University from their outreach team asking if we'd be interested in a conversation about being a sponsor. So obviously lots of back and forth gathering information, and we managed to sort of obviously get it over the board to the trustees. And then we donate to, they go to a panel and we get sponsored and matched up with a young person.
Very nice.
And that's going to start their 3-year degree. And every year we'll get like a progress report from their tutor. They're still there.
Yeah, they're still
there. You know,
that's good to know. You're not just sending money out to the ether.
And if everything's positive and they look like they're going to commit and stay, then we release another 2,000. It's 2,000 per year, and that's given straight to the university. And we're a founding sponsor. And the first student that we supported, it was a bit of like dipping our toe in.
Yeah.
At the beginning, that's why we kept it as an annual thing to review. And yeah, I don't want to say his name.
No.
But yeah, that young person sort of graduated.
What was their studies in?
He was doing physiology in sports. So he wanted to go into doing physiotherapy and stuff like
nice.
that. But yeah, I was nearly said his name then. But he's got no family support with him at all. And the university shared me a link. Does that make sense? Shared a link with me. So we could actually watch online the graduation.
Oh, that's
and
really
I didn't
nice.
even know what he looked like. So I've been talking about it for 3 years. How's he getting on? What's his challenges? And I've seen all these updates of his academic progress. And then I was sat there and I watched it for about 45 minutes. I had it on whilst I was working. And then I just heard the name come up. And I was like, oh! And I was just so excited. And I thought, he doesn't even know who I am. He just knows Capstone Trust have done a bursary. And I felt weird. It felt like,
felt like a proud moment. You've helped support someone, and they've finally achieved something, which is really, really nice.
So it was it's very rewarding, that moment. But no, you'd never know who I am. And I know it's not just from myself or the trustees, but we had some lovely reports back from him. Really appreciated and the support. But yeah, that was a lovely moment. And but yeah, we've got really good support networks. I'm trying to build on that going forward. The trustees are keen for me to build contacts within not just Birmingham Uni, but all universities. So young people that are care experienced, when they go to uni, it's not just the financial burden that they have. It's when it gets to Christmas or they're in student halls or summer holidays, they're on their own. You know, and all their friends and their peers, they all go off for the holidays and they're left on their own at the student halls. So many universities now, Birmingham University, University of Birmingham, they do the flagship. They're a flagship uni for this, and they buddy them up with other care experienced students there to make sure that they're okay and they've got support there and not on their own. So I think many young people would probably be put off because it's daunting.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's very inspirational when you get these young people. Going to uni and doing more degrees.
I know, just from hearing some of the stories, and I know we've done some videos and stuff for you. Just listen to some of the stories of how much kind of help. Sometimes you just don't even realize how such little things can actually really improve someone's life and just kind of set them on that path. It's just it's really, really, really nice.
Well, the bursaries for things like the study books or travel or just getting them through the year. It could be just getting a food shop. You know, it's just to help them through, just to ease any pressure and give them any sort of, support, because it's probably a very stressful time, going to university when you haven't got that support around you from outside.
So where do you I know you personally don't pull out your pocket all the money. Where does kind of the money from the trust come from?
Majority of the money we receive is generously given from the Capstone Group. And we also receive donations as well. And as you know, we've just set up a Just Giving
Yeah,
page.
and
So
me
that's very
and Zoe,
new.
we got to go to this very bougie.
Very posh.
We were very out of places. Who was it for?
It was Soccer Team.
Soccer Team.
Soccer Team.
So they is it like a tech?
Yeah, they're an innovative tech company that sort of support young adults and care experience young adults, and they're all about the artificial intelligence. And
so this year Zoe and CCRT were the charity of choice.
Yeah.
So
very privileged.
Well, Zoe was like, I want them to come, and me and Sarah were like, oh, let's go. So we had this really nice 3-course meal, a charity auction, like socialized with these people who were just like so posh, and me and Zoe were just there, like not knowing how to eat properly. There was like 10 layers of knives and forks, and we were like, where do you start with this? But it was way out of our depths, but it was really, really nice, and we raised some really good money.
It was lovely, and I got on stage.
Yeah, I got up on stage. Of you and Sarah.
Yeah.
So a really, really good speech.
But no, it was it was amazing. I think we raised about 2004, and that was our first Just Giving event. So yeah, that would be great that we can start to obviously generate more, through the Just Giving and get the word out there really of what we do, because we've never really shouted about it before. So if that can help support more young people, even better.
Yeah, I know that because with Capstone and the Capstone group, I know we've been doing some blogs and like posting onto our socials just because also I know when we were in Excel, we both went up to Blackpool a few weeks ago now, and just like speaking with the carers and just being like, we're here for you guys too. It's really just useful to like kind of get the, because especially sometimes I feel like you can be in your own world and like so busy. Obviously you get so many applications and you're trying to open it as much as you can, and sometimes you just forget that like all it takes is you to take a step back and just be able to like shout about it, or even just do a podcast like this and just talk about it, and like it can open up so many more doors for you and really like help so many more people really.
Get the word out there really of Capstone Trust, and obviously sort of get more support for the trust in that sense. But I'll be going to more after that at Preston. There was quite a few foster carers within the Capstone group that had stay put arrangements. So we've been able to help one of the ladies there help towards her car insurance for her young person.
Oh, nice.
So we're doing
so has it started to progress on that? Because I remember when they were speaking about it and you were like, let me get on the phone.
Like, that doesn't meet the criteria, but I'll have to talk to the bosses.
Peter, the CEO, was like, give me a minute, stepped outside, got on the phone and was like, yeah, we can do that for you.
Nothing's ever a no, especially if it's internal. Everything, so I'll feed that back. I would never say no, it's not my position really. I can sort of say what the criteria is that we kind of work towards, or what I've got to work towards. But especially anything within Capstone Group, I would always say, let me just ask the question.
Yeah, definitely.
And we've navigated a way around it. We're actually contributing £800 towards the young person's car insurance once he's ready in December, and we'll give that to the Excel foster carer. Yeah,
because I think they were saying that the young person wanted to be, is it police? Go work with the police?
He wants to go to become a detective.
And like, just he needed that insurance, and then he can it's just been able to like progress his career. That if his foster carer never asked that question,
exactly, who
knows how long it would have taken him for to get a part-time job, to save for it. So like, I think it's just really important, really, just to for them to have that support group, like their foster carers, their social workers, and just be able to ask the questions. And when you've got kind of a company like CCRT, they can help. So,
well, that was the first one that I'd gone to, and a lot of the foster carers we weren't really aware of this, or people know bits and bobs about it because I haven't really gone to the offices and took that time out to obviously meet them one-to-one. I've been on regional meetings, but I think it's worthwhile to be with the foster carers, which I'll be doing one office a year to their foster care events across the UK. And just doing a similar thing, just a quick chat about what we can do. I think it's great to give back. They're doing an amazing job looking after, obviously, these vulnerable young children. And many of them, if they're taking them on as stay put, that's huge. That commitment that they've shown to them, it's like part of their family, and they're nurturing them into independent living.
It's so nice being able to like speak to the foster carers as well, because like some of them, they'll be telling me stories. I remember I met a foster carer last time when I went to Excel, and they were like telling me about this young person they have, and he had like a scar, and he was just like, oh yeah, there was a bit of an issue, and it was like the funniest thing ever. And I was like, just the way that they talk about all these crazy like things that can go on. It just they have so much love and passion in their hearts, and it's like, okay, you were born to be a foster carer, and like the passion you actually have for
it's
it
another breed, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so nice. And then just having the support as well. So I know we spoke about some success stories. Are there any personal ones that you favourite? I've got a favourite of mine.
Okay, you've heard so many.
I've heard so many,
in that cupboard.
But it's been so good. I think my personal favourite is the boy who, well, the man who went on to do kind of the yachting and got his yachting degree, whatever,
cadetship.
His cadetship.
Yeah,
and it's mainly my favorite just because of how much I love below deck. And I was like, I remember like seeing some of the pictures just like that he had taken from like the boat, and I was like, oh my god, it's like below deck, it's like real life.
Excited about that. Like,
me and Zoe came over and like told me like what she had just approved, and I was like below deck, and then Zoe was like, do you watch below deck? And we had like a whole conversation about below deck instead of doing any work. We're like, oh my god. But yeah, I think that's my favorite strictly because
it's always the standout, isn't it? Because obviously we have our norm, but that was a bit of an unusual one to process. I wasn't sure if I could get that over the line, but he had so many other scholarships, and he'd done so well with what he'd progressed within with his education, and to have got that placement. Not many people get that cadetship and the scholarships that he had as well. But yeah, and he kept wanting to keep sending me pictures. I'd come in the office for a night and be like, oh, there's pictures of a seal in the Mediterranean.
Yeah, in like the Med. And I remember
he'd just send me them without asking.
Yeah, because we did like a little video, didn't we, of like a collage of a bunch of different things, and we used kind of him. I can't remember what the quote was now, but it was so nice. I think he said like, if it wasn't for CCLT, like he probably wouldn't have been able to get onto that cadetship, and then now kind of be living his dream, like sailing around the world on these boats. Like it's really good. I think that's why it's my favorite. How about you? Do you have any personal favorites?
That would have been mine. So
sorry,
that's the obvious one, isn't it? Because it was just really exciting to obviously process and obviously see what, how he progressed, and the impact that it had on his personal circumstances. So that was the one I was going to say. So you're throwing me there.
Sorry.
But I'll think of another one in a minute. But no, another one that I do have. That was the 3,000. Another one that we had was for, I keep going to say the name. It's just automatic, but I can't say the name. I keep in touch actually with this young person. She always gives me updates. But she was doing she was doing a barrister. She was doing a law degree, and we funded to help her to do her bar exam. And she got a placement to go into, it's in London, and she was going to all the big courtrooms with the work placement that she had. And she needed sort of like formal wear and everything to go. And she couldn't afford any of that. She needed a laptop. But she's kept in touch. She's actually set up her own charity now.
Oh my gosh.
Lawyers Who Care. And she keeps in touch about how we could partnership with certain things because she's just set up. But what she's achieved, she's done a bar exam. She's a barrister, and in that time, she's set up her own charity because she wants to educate care experienced young adults in the way of you can do what I've done. There's no challenges. I don't have any family around me. She didn't have the greatest time, in the system in that sense. I don't know if I can call it that. I don't know what to call it off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But it's facing adversity, and see what she's achieved. But even now, she'll like just call me up just to be like, "Oh, she talks like really like that. She's proper like, London." And she'll be like, "How you doing, Zoe? You all right? You okay?" And she'll just call me up, and I'll be like, "Got loads of applications, I'm busy." But then for her, it's just so lovely that she wants to keep in touch definitely. In that sense, and she's always just still thanking. It was 2 years ago. And she'll just even pop an email, you know what, this is what I'm doing now. This is what I've just thought you'd like to know. Thanks again to the trustees. Thanks to, and it's just lovely to hear
it's
that.
Just nice to hear how like something which like, although you did something really good, it could be like, it could have been quite a little thing. It could have literally also like just delayed her career like by a year. Like you weren't able to give her the grant, but just been able to do it. It's opened her up to so many more opportunities, and she's actually now able to give back to people who've kind of experienced the same things as her. So it's
had a knock-on effect to more young people just doing that. So it's really elevated her education, her career, and obviously an amazing foundation. And she's only 20.
Oh my god.
She's only 20. Well, she's about 20, 21.
Yeah.
but to have achieved what she's achieved is right. And then we've got the other young lady that you're aware of. I know I'm trying to talk, not talking in riddles, but I don't want to say names. But that young person went to Birmingham University also, and we supported them with tuition fees. And you'll know who I'm talking about. They've done a book.
Yeah.
Done a book, and they're going to do mental health and chats. Or
they
set up a charity
she did a TED
as well.
Talk, didn't she?
She does TED Talks as well. You'll have to get her in here.
Yeah, that'd be really good. Great. That would be great.
She's a seasoned professional.
Yeah, she'd outdo me though. I'd be the one in the corner like, oh my god, just admiring.
But yeah, I mean, I'm sort of, they're the main ones. Obviously, not the main ones, but they're the ones that come to my mind because they're like the extreme,
the big ones.
But even ones where, I mean, just yesterday I had an application approved for a young person, and it was for a bed frame, a wardrobe, and something like pots and pans. It's one of the smaller side for your basic household. She was crying. She was actually crying on the phone. The PA had actually sort of got in touch with me saying we need to hold fire on those because she's in hospital at the moment. So, and I thought, okay, that's fine. Just get back in touch with me when she's okay. And then she got back in touch. I saw her name come up because I'd left her a voicemail, and it was about 2 weeks ago. And she called me, and she just started crying on the phone. And I thought, oh God, is she really? Have I upset her? Or have I done something wrong? And she went, oh, because she got the voicemail, and I sent her an email just stating like the decision of the trustees. And she was like, I've not had a bed in 9 months, and my bed broke, and I'm so grateful. And it was just, you know, it's lovely to get the thanks, but you know, when sometimes you're just in that zone of process, have they said yes, what more information do you need? Right, let's work through and I'm not like that, I'm not robotic. Obviously, I care about what I'm doing, but sometimes you get so wrapped up, and obviously you want them to be happy and you want to help. But sometimes when you have that impact of how when they come back to you in that such a way, you're like,
it's just really nice to hear how it's developed for them. I think it just shows as well that how kind of on the negative point now, like there's just not really enough support out there for people who are care experienced. So I think that's what just makes CCLT kind of that extra.
It's unique
thing,
It's unique,
I think what do you get a lot of kind of people coming forward and being like, kind of the local authority haven't been able to help with that type of stuff. Is that common?
Yeah, that's very common.
Yeah,
very common.
A bit too common.
Yeah. From the local authority, it's like they're limited funds. Everyone's limited funds, you know. However, they have a setting up home allowance of up to £2,000 when they set up they secure their first permanent property.
And which still £2,000 to secure a home. That's the sofa nowadays.
That's for everything for your household, and the personal advisor will normally help them utilise that for the white goods, etc. So once that's exhausted, and then 3-4 years later, some of them are 24, 25, the cookers broke, the fridges broke, because they've tried to cram as much into the 2,000.
So they've got everything kind of on budget, or got it second hand.
So we get that a lot from local authorities.
Yeah. So I think it just screams that there needs to be so much more support for kind of care experienced people.
That's why as well, when we get somebody that gets wind of us, check out CCLT.
Check us out, but we need to make sure we're being fair.
But a lot of PAs put applications in on behalf of the young people because they get wind. But we do keep an eye on it. We make sure that it's all fair. But sometimes it's many just young people that have been sort of like taking initiative and sort of like what support is actually out there. And when I send them a load of links of other support, did you know this charity does this, or Become Charity offers support for foster carers, and also your entitlements as a foster child or care experience young adult. There are many are like, well, we didn't realise all of this support was out there, but there still should be more. No, it's like it's only now we're shouting about it.
Yeah, there needs to be more support for kind of care experience, but then also just more education and more shouting about what the support they actually have, which is what I think is going back to what we said about how we're starting to kind of push the name of kind of Capstone Care Leavers Trust out. I think we're not even doing it kind of for us, we're doing it for the kind of the young people, because they don't know about so much kind of support. And even if they come for you and say, oh, I need support with this, and you go, oh, that doesn't fit. I know just speaking to you, you have so many, you can be like, okay, I'll direct you to here, direct you to here, direct you to here. And just if they had kind of more of those types of people who can direct them to the right place, could save them so much time, could really set up the future really, really useful.
Yeah, even when you're saying a no, you're able to say us, but just get your ducks in a row, come back to us, and this is what else is available. We can sometimes speak to the personal advisor and let them know of alternative support. If it's something we can't support, there is other avenues that they can explore and alternative organisations that they can look into. So it's not just about the applications; it's the guidance as well and the support with that. But yeah.
Speaking of some no's and some negatives.
Oh, the no's.
What are some either some funny, some crazy no's you've had to give? Because obviously you do have a criteria you have to fit
you
to.
Probably heard it in that
but
cupboard.
I can, I was going to say I could guess it would be some no's, but I know for sure people have probably come through and requested some crazy things.
Yeah, we get asked weird and wonderful requests. From the usual ones that where it doesn't meet criteria, probably the most unusual one is for cosmetic surgery. They're very upset. Obviously, I decline. We don't do anything like medical or surgery, and especially not cosmetic surgery. It's like we're not covered for things like that. Go to
that's
GP.
A whole different.
Yeah, it's like I know I can get your fridge freezer.
Yeah,
I can get your microwave, but we can't, do surgery.
Yeah.
It's a bit of an ask. Like £10,000 or so. So yeah, it's very, very weird and wonderful. We have, requests a lot for, can you pay for my hotel? I want to go on holiday. I've never been on holiday and I want to go abroad. So it's things like that really.
And things like that, I guess, could be hard because, like, although it's, I guess, a luxury to go on holiday, like, it can just be so nice to go and have that break.
Yeah.
And even if it was kind of in like a city break in like England or UK, it'd be so nice to be able to give it. But you can't be kind of giving holidays away, and
it's a bit of an ask when it's just a holiday.
Yeah.
I mean, we do support educational trips, but yeah, it's a bit of an ask. Managing expectations of allocated budgets. I want £1,000 fridge freezer, and it's like, they're the ones with the ice, the double ones, like you're seeing like the American films.
Like there's Samsung screens, and you can watch Netflix on your fridge. Like, why do you want
Bluetooth washing machine? I was like, excuse me, with basic essentials. So there is that kind of, not all the time, but we do get the odd one, and I've put down the phone. I'm like, the chicken.
Did I make this up, or did you ask for a dog before or some pets? Did I make that up?
Yeah,
I think you did. I
don't know why that's gone over my head. It's probably the pressure.
The pressure of the podcast.
I got asked for a puppy, saying obviously, it's lovely to have, it's pet therapy, and I understand that, However, we don't buy pets. It was a bit of a random one. The young person did get very upset. She wanted it for her mental health, but we just couldn't warrant buying something if you're really struggling with them. It was with social anxiety and all of that. So it's like we wanted to help, and so we signposted, encouraged, and spoke to the PA. We're concerned, or make sure she's okay, as safeguarding duty of care. But yeah, she got very upset that we wouldn't buy her a puppy. It was like consistently upset. Many emails about that, but I don't know. So that's not the nice part. Obviously, I'd love to buy puppies. I'd love to do that, but obviously, I don't think the trustees would allow.
I think if someone got wind of that you're buying people pets, you'd have so many more people would be like, I would like a dog, I'd like a cat, I'd like this, I'd like that.
Yeah, we don't buy pets, but weird and wonderful. There's probably many, many more that I'll probably sort of after this. I'll be like, I should have said that one.
You have to send us some videos, like some selfie videos of you filling in all the gaps. Like, okay, I thought of this really, really good idea. Or if we change clothes in the next clip, it's because we actually set up a second podcast just to speak about more of the offcuts, our thoughts, the
extras.
So, what would you say, kind of looking now, kind of into the future? What would you say your future goals for you personally, and then also Capstone Care Leavers Trust? Let's go for you first. We'll go for Capstone Care Leavers Trust first. Maybe that's a bit of an easier one.
I suppose Capstone Care Leavers Trust. I touched on it earlier. Going to start going to speak with the foster carers in person. Try and we'll go to all the offices for the foster care events once per year. So I get to obviously present it, introduce it, see if anyone needs support, any guidance, any extra guidance. So that's a big thing. Just giving would be great. I mean, if we can try and do more events with that, but a bit limited. Obviously, I've got to focus on applications But it'd be great to get the name out there with things like doing this. Things on.
So if there are any big companies that are watching and would like a great charity to do a partnership with to sponsor us,
Capstone Trust.
Capstone Care Leavers Trust. Yeah, make sure you reach out.
But yeah, it's just obviously keep supporting young people, and any way we can elevate the trust going forward. Really, if I can try and have that portal open a bit longer and go a bit quicker, but it's just it's how it is. But it's more to make sure Capstone Group are aware of what Capstone Care Leavers Trust does. Are you aware of what's in house and how we can support you and help you? So that's the main sort of goal going forward for Capstone Trust. And personally, what do you mean for like me at home? Or what do you mean me at
you at home, you in work. Like, where do you just kind of see your future?
Obviously, like settling in, coming into the new office, try and see everybody more often as well.
We've just moved office recently. It's a lot nicer.
Much nicer, isn't it?
In a much nicer area. And we get an amazing... Have you had anything from the woman who comes out with the food? Oh, no. She bibs a horn at like 10:30.
10:30.
And gives us the best lunch ever. Okay. Homemade flapjacks, homemade sandwiches.
Oh, is it all homemade?
All homemade.
Jill was like, "There's a wagon." She called it a wagon. It's like there's a wagon with
food. More of a van, but it doesn't come with like a wagon and like horses attached to it.
Like that, yeah.
No, not quite that. But that's the best part about moving to the office.
I missed that then, didn't I?
Yeah,
I must have just missed that. Really but yeah, I mean, that's it really for Capstone Care Leavers Trust. Just try and keep doing what we're doing and help as many people as we can, like myself and the trustees.
What do you think the publics, so all you guys, misunderstand about kind of care experienced people the most? What's the biggest misunderstanding, do you think?
Okay, misunderstanding is that they do have a lot of support. A lot of the public don't even think of care experience. They hear about foster children. I think it's only since John Lewis had been doing something about care experience. It's like, oh, okay. I think they just seem to think, well, they're in foster care and they go off and but they don't have the necessary support. Yeah, they might have a personal advisor, but that relationship can also sometimes be a bit cracked. They might not want to engage with the local authority, so they are left on their own. Not all of them, but they don't have the finances. They're kind of put into a supported living accommodation with no friends, no family, and they don't have any support. It's not just the financial support, it's somebody saying
the emotional support.
It's the emotional support. They haven't had someone that's nurtured their aspirations, their goals, their dreams, of what you want to do. So it's just having that someone to lean on and support. And I think they do get forgotten.
Yeah.
And I think it's only now you're seeing more stuff about care experience, sort of like not just charities, but you're seeing more sort of
like documentaries.
Like
is it Joe Swash?
There's Joe Swash.
He had his documentary of it. I think as well, people, when you think about care, people go straight to kind of young people in care, like who are in care.
That like years ago.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But then I think not many people really think about, these people actually age out of care and what's happening now, which is obviously, well, I think working for kind of the Capstone Group, it's really good that we have kind of CCLT. It proves that
bridges that gap.
We understand that it doesn't stop at the age of 18 years old. It really, their journey starts at the age of 18-year-olds sometimes, because then they're like, oh, actually, now I need to go sometimes fight on my own, and don't realise all the support that they can get. Yeah. So it can be really, really hard.
I mean, even if they're deemed care experience up to the age of 26, they'll always be care experience, not up to 26, but also we have that as, that's what it's Charity Commission and all of that with the criteria. But no, it's like they have faced a lot of challenges, adversities. They haven't had the nurturing that we maybe took for granted when we were younger. And people just think, they just go out and just enjoy them. And some of them, they either go into fight or flight, I guess. They either go into, very bad circumstances. And I get such a mixture of different applications where they've gone one way or the other, or they just haven't had that nurturing from the local authority. Not that it's bad with the local authority, they've just not had the best relationship. They've not been willing to have that relationship.
I think sometimes, like it's people, when you're younger, you kind of, if you're having these, like, if you're going into foster care, you've already got this kind of negative part about kind of the local authority. Yeah. So even if they are trying to help, sometimes you just don't see it. So I think you can disconnect sometimes with that. So I think that, sometimes could be the issue. But I think, just educating and hopefully helping the public educating the public as well, just so that people haven't got to explain themselves constantly or explain kind of their past. I
mean, many of them they do struggle with managing their tenancy. All of a sudden, they've gone in from being in a foster placement to here's your council flat. Now you've got to pay your bills, pay this, and they've got universal credit, and they've got to manage it all. Obviously, they have the personal advisor to guide them and hold their hand through that. But it's overwhelming. Of now I'm on my own, and I've got to pay all these bills. When not many 17-year-olds that are at home, and maybe still at home. Some of them are still at home at 40.
I mean, I'm 24 and I'm still at home. Like when I finished university, I couldn't have imagined like having to go straight back to like then live by myself and make sure I've got a job, make sure I can afford, make sure I know how to do bills and everything. So like I couldn't imagine that, and I'm obviously very lucky and very grateful that I had kind of the family that I could come back to. It's just sometimes I think people don't always think about other people and what they could be going through.
They think that you should be doing what they're doing, and it's like no, they haven't had the same.
I think especially now
the basics of childhood have been stripped from them.
Especially now with like kind of the cost of living.
Exactly.
Or eventually, like it's just so everything has gone up so much in cost, and if they're then having to go into this bar and you're like having to pay your electricity bills, which for some reason are so expensive anyway.
We had a lot of applications actually for when that first sort of like spiked.
The spike.
Received a lot of applications for that, but we had to refer to Reese Foundation for crisis payments. But
so we end the podcast. I say we end the podcast. We're ending the podcast because this is the first one with a question. We're going to ask everybody the same question. So this one doesn't have to be fostering specific. Your answer to this. So
pressure.
What is one piece of advice that you would give to your 18-year-old self? You can take some time to think about this.
That's it. That's a good question.
Thank you. I spent a lot of time.
You didn't put that on the email.
No, I didn't. This is a spring this question on people, so it's okay if you want to take some time.
What would I say to my 18-year-old? Many things I'll probably say to my 18-year-old self.
It doesn't have to be a serious one. It can be a fun, light-hearted one.
I would say believe in yourself.
Believe
in yourself more, because I was very kind of like, I was quite very shy. Very shy and nervous.
And it's funny because to be fair, I get that for you because like when we had the event at the charity thing, Zoe comes in, she's a big ball of chaos. She's going crazy and she's like, I'm so nervous. And I'm like, you were not nervous. Like Zoe's like the least nervous person I think I've ever met.
Put her on a stage
or like put a camera in front of her and then she goes shy. So it's so I'd think you believe in yourself a lot, but
I think definitely.
That's a really nice one to end it on. Everyone believe in yourself. Thanks for joining me, Zoe. So if there's any kind of care experience people that wanted to inquire for a grant, how would they do that?
Well, if it's within the Capstone group, they can email me, zoe.greenwood@capstonetrust.org. Anything external outside the Capstone group, so you haven't been within care with ourselves, check the Apply Now page on our website, capstonetrust.org. Capstone Care Leavers Trust.org, and the Apply Now page. I update that, so I make sure 1 week prior the date and the time. And if you put on the info I can sort of respond to that if you've got any queries in the meantime.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for this again, and
thanks, marketing.
Bye.